Hey everybody, how you doing? Thurlow Weed, also known as Steve Nelson Jr. here with CryptoTalk.News. And as I've been tweeting throughout the last week, we've got a very special interview that's going on today. And right here on the screen, speaking to me, is Rolf with ZenCash. Now, a lot of you may or may not have heard of ZenCash, but ZenCash is very unique. And I actually wanted to interview them because, as I've stated on a lot of my videos, I feel that 2018 is going to be something big for privacy coins. And in my mind, with the first to market with node-to-node encryption, as well as other privacy features, I really feel that ZenCash is actually undervalued. And I want to talk about this just real quick. On CoinMarketCap, their values, they're 141, but the only reason for this is because if you look at the coins in circulation, it's only about 3.475 million coins out of 21 million coins. So there was no pre-mine, there was no ICO. Like, this is still just grinding and getting going. If you look at a US dollar value, it's $18 a coin. That's pretty damn good. Now, before I go any further, Rolf, thank you very much for coming to the show, and thank you very much for giving us some of your time here today.
Oh, happy to be here, Steve. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience, and it's always fun to talk to someone who, understands cryptocurrencies and asks good questions. So, yeah.
I like to make it interesting, and I like to make it fun. As we were able to speak about before, I know that there's some advanced people that will watch this. I definitely put it out on Twitter, but we've got a lot of intermediate and beginner viewers and listeners here on the podcast, as well as on our YouTube channel. And I wanted to talk to you guys because, again, as I said, 2018, I think, is going to be very big for privacy coins, just because a lot of news is coming out with them being able to track data for Bitcoin users back to Silk Road. Now, I'm not trying to put illegal stuff into the market, but when we're talking about decentralized, when we're talking about having control of our own funds, our own money, and not having a bigger eye look over us, this is something that comes into play, what we're talking about, by being a privacy coin.
Sure, and people ask me a lot, they're like, well, you're part of a privacy coin. Does that mean you condone illegal things? I'm like, no, I don't condone illegal things. But let's talk about privacy and how people have an assumption of lack of privacy. And you can take an analogy of your house. I mean, in my house, I've got shades. Normally the shades are open because I like looking outside my windows. But sometimes I turn off the lights and close the shades because there's things that I don't want people to see that I'm doing. And so I like to have privacy when I do things. And you can take this to businesses where you don't want your competitors to find out what you're doing in business because they might be able to steal one of your customers or one of your good employees or things like that. So there's a use case for having privacy. And even though, in the press and other things like that, it's all about people that are doing illegal things. I'm going to set aside the distinction between illegal and immoral for a second. But, just because someone's made a law that you can't do something, it's very difficult to say, okay, here's everything I'm doing in my life. Everybody can look and see what I'm doing all the time. Let's make that the default. So I think there's an important element of privacy that people should be able to reclaim in their lives.
And I'm with you. And to me, that is a great analogy for privacy. Hey, would you just like to have a house and not be allowed to have any curtains? Or would you like to be able to close them when you want to have some privacy, or close the door, on the bathroom when you want to have some privacy? So that there is definitely a good analogy. And even on what we spend our money on, there's one thing I want to jump ahead. ZenCash has got some great features. One is Zen chat for messaging, and being able to, I believe, send if you can't currently, will be able to, but to send money that way. I think about Facebook Messenger, and of course Facebook's huge in the news right now, but I receive and send money with Facebook, or I don't all the time, but to think about how that may not be as private, obviously if it bothered me that much, I wouldn't do it for those particular items. But
sure,
to have a secure network and a privacy network to be able to message information or data or money, currency or score of value back and forth, I think is absolutely amazing. And you guys, again, one of the first to market with node-to-node encryption, and one of the smaller coins that people don't think about, because when they look at coin market cap, you're not right there. Honestly, that's probably one of the biggest reasons more people don't know about you, is because you're just not right there in front of their face, which makes no sense, because then they don't look at the technology behind it.
Yeah, and that's okay. We've got time. We've been around for a little while. We launched May last year. We're planning on being around for quite a while. And really, our mission is first off to be really usable by people all over the world. So that's why you're going to see, and you can see right now if you download them, we have good quality wallets that are really usable on all sorts of different things and in different languages. We have ambassadors going out to meetups and showing people how to use ZenCash. So we have a real focus on usability. And the things that we want people to use our cryptocurrency for, well, it's transactions, one of them. And I'm gonna, you hear the word ZK snark and, zero knowledge transactions and things like that. But I find when I give presentations and talk with people about it, not a lot of people understand the specifics of what Zcash created, and ZenCash is a fork of Zcash. So we took their technology, and then in some cases we improved on it. We think improved on it, and in many cases we continue taking their improvements and folding them into it. That's one of the great things about open source software. And so there's regular transparent transactions, which are just like on Bitcoin. So you have a blockchain, people can see the address it was sent to, from, the amount, the time, the history, and that kind of stuff. Then there's shielded transactions. And these are a different type of transaction. They're recorded on the blockchain, but a full shielded to shielded transaction, nobody can see who sent it, who received it, or the amount. It's on the blockchain, but the only people that can see it are the people that sent it and the people that received it. So there's privacy there. If you know the sender and the receiver, nobody else can see it. In fact, it goes to the level that it can be fully anonymous. So you could put a ZenCash address on your website and say, hey, send me tips, send me information, send me money, and people could send you ZenCash. You'd have no idea who it came from.
Totally anonymous.
Yeah, totally anonymous. And the cool thing about that shielded transaction is that it has, ZenCash created it so it has a 512 character message field in it. So you could do this on Zcash, but we have wallets optimized in ZenCash for messages between people, so you can identify who they are. And then, like you said, Zen Chat, so we have a group of people that can get in a chat room. Yes, the chats and messages are a little slow because they go on the block 3.5 minutes. But we have a minimum viable product for that right now that works. And the nice thing is, if you're going to send funds to somebody and you want it to be private and you want to communicate with them, you don't want any additional metadata. Like I use Signal on my phone. Signal's a great application. Anytime somebody comes on Signal that's in my contact list, it pops me a note and says this person's on Signal. Well, that's that's not really very private there. So that's I don't have.
That's true.
So if I chose to talk with them, it'd be private. But the data about the data that they're on Signal, the metadata, is very public. So by doing transactions and messaging in the same method on the same blockchain, using the same thing, the metadata and data are all together. So it enables you to have enhanced privacy that way.
And that is something that's good. And I think that a lot of people will find that very, very useful. And again, it's about building the community that's behind it, which you guys are doing an amazing job. That's doing that in and of itself is a big feat. And the fact that you guys, I don't know, I think that option is, I don't think that it'll be overused. What I don't like about it is how the government can spin it. You see what I'm saying? That's the only thing that I don't like about it, is because when people think, again, like privacy, well, oh, they're only going to be able to do this. And what's good is how we're already embattling it on the front of saying, hey, use it this way, or it doesn't have a mark against it, I guess what I'm trying to say. Do you see what I'm saying? Like where Bitcoin has a mark against it, this doesn't have a mark against it. It hasn't been used as illegal activity. And let's be honest, when it comes down to really sending, I mean, the price of sending a transaction is much lower with your guys' coin as opposed to larger coins, as we'll say, or even other coins. So people look at that, that as well. And I think that sending a message is good. Now, I want to ask you about this. Can you send people? There was news earlier this week about images. We won't talk about what they are, but images that were on the blockchain. Can people send images through these messages, or is it only text data that they can send through the messages?
It'd have to be a very small image because it would have to fit into 512 character bytes.
Okay.
Now we can send a link to something else. So if I was, and we're looking at this from a worldwide perspective because there's many different countries in the world. There's many different places where something is legal in one country and it's completely illegal in another country. So when you're crossing international boundaries, sometimes you don't know what all the things are. Okay, maybe there's a country that outlaws alcohol, or another one that outlaws. There's a whole bunch of different rules and laws that are out there. So sometimes you don't know what's illegal and what's not illegal. But no, we can't send pictures in those messages. We're working to do private anonymous publishing, where we would integrate a little bit more closely, maybe build it into the wallet with a distributed publishing system, where you could say, well, I want to upload this picture, and then I want to send my buddy a link to it in a shielded message.
Gotcha.
And you could do that. So you can do that now. You could go rent a server with Zen somewhere and put documents on it and send a message with a link to that server to somebody. Sure, you could do that right now, but it's not integrated more fully because we specifically need to be able to say, okay, people can't, host pictures that are illegal pictures, and then have our node operators or have whoever is operating Zen in a country be arrested for that. So we have to figure out a way that it can be done where it doesn't put people at risk like that. I think some of the projects like MadeSafe, they have very ambitious plans to do something like that. I know IPFS is working towards being distributed and encrypted and things like that. So there's a lot of projects out there that we have the possibility of integrating into our technology, but we're not there yet on integrating the sending of pictures into our technology.
Gotcha. And me being a business owner, I was just thinking, I know you can put characters in there, but I was thinking like as a receipt type thing. If you do a receipt, some computer generated, maybe on your screen or something of a invoice, and then you snap a picture that is sent through the messaging. It was kind of what my thought was on it. So obviously it's not quite there yet, but it can obviously be there in the future.
Yeah, that's part of the plan. And that's why we've got the message of, transactions and media or money, media, and messaging. That's it.
Money, media, and messaging. Now, I want to ask, at this point in 2018, where is the focus of the ZenCash team? Is it on, I know you guys had a big announcement partnering with IOHK for research and development, which obviously is huge. That just goes back with everything you were talking to, stuff not being there yet. It's all about research and development and going along there. So with that, is that your guys' focus for 2018? Is it focusing on, building the community in research and development? Or are there new parts of your application that you guys are going to be deploying throughout 2018?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of things we do in parallel. And the reason that we're able to do that is we're set up to run like business. But one of the things I did was start a business on credit cards and grow it to about 60 people and sell it. And there was a lot of change and transition that had to do going through on that business. And then started ZenCash with Rob Biglione, who has a lot of different business experience and project management experience. And one of our leaders is Rosario Pabst, who has many years of project management experience. And then a few other folks like Rowan Stone on business development. So if you look at our organization currently, we're set up like a small business. I mean, heck, we've even got an accountant and legal counsel because there's things that we need to do with numbers. We need to publish where all our spending has gone, at least in different categories over the last year, because we're a community-focused cryptocurrency. And we actually get funds every day from the mining reward, from the Coinbase reward, that go to our nonprofit Zen Blockchain Foundation, which is then spent by the members of that foundation. I'm one of the members of the foundation. That's the way we're doing it right now, because we put out a white paper last year and we launched as a chain split off of different coins. We had an immediate community, and then we started implementing features and things like that that we talked about in the white paper. And one of them was to have a funding methodology. So 8.5% of the mining reward gets paid into the Treasury that we're able to use to spend on development and marketing and the other business funds that we have to do. When our value was up around $60, that monthly budget was around, I don't know, $800,000. Now that it's down to 18, our monthly budget's around $250,000. So it's not huge gobs of money. And it's kind of like bootstrapping a small business and growing. And the more successful we are, the more the price rises, and then we're able to spend some money. So we're not set up like an ICO where we get millions and millions of dollars up front, and then we're burning that to develop the coin. We actually have a continuous funding mechanism that gives us rapid market feedback as to how we're doing. So to answer your question, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just real quick. I think that better than an ICO. Like, honestly, projects should be set up similar to this, because then investors are not looking at losing a ton of money. Obviously, when you're coming out with a new blockchain, it's a little bit different, but to be able to have a mechanism in there when you're not splitting up another coin, in other words, for our viewers who may not have understood that, if you're not forking from another coin and you're creating your own from there, it'd be a little bit different. You could put the mechanism in it, but you're not going to get the instant community. So you would kind of need some sort of funding round at the beginning, is all I was going to say. But that is a great way, and like kind of the way things should be launched, especially if it's going to be a fork off of a coin.
Yeah, so we're very happy about how we launched, because we don't have any of those ICO issues, and we met. We had a launch announcement at Consensus last year, which was in May, and had the chance to meet two real luminaries in the industry, David Narioff and Charles Hoskinson, who have helped us and provide and give us advice over the last year. And that was very fortuitous, because as we started to grow and talk about what it is that we wanted to do, there's two large improvements that we have written about in the white paper that we want to make happen. That we really need to have smart people develop and test and then implement for us. So using this funding and our project management capabilities and our advisors, we talked with Charles Hoskinson's organization, IOHK, about doing some research, development, and modeling for us, and then putting together information that we could then use to take to another organization. That organization is InfoPulse. To do the actual development and improve our software. So one of the first projects was our governance project. So we already have Treasury funds, but we're a community-based project, and right now we're pretty darn centralized. A few years from now, we want to be completely decentralized and have the people that are fully invested into different aspects of ZenCash actually deciding where all the community funds are spent and how they're spent. So we're taking Dash has a great example of how they do this with their master nodes and their funding. They're really one of the leaders in this, and we're set up slightly different than Dash. So right now we're modeling a governance model where people are going to buy voting tickets using Zen, and then other folks are going to propose projects during the proposal period or propose changes. And then during the voting period, people are going to vote. But since we have shielded transactions, and this is going to be integrated into the overall protocol, we're going to have secret ballot voting. Nobody can see what the progress of the voting is.
Very nice.
And then at the end of it, you'll see what the results are, and then whatever the results are, that's what's going to happen. And so we get that in place, and then we'll start transitioning. So instead of like 8.5% being spent centrally on all the development and marketing, we'll take 1% and switch it over to community-decided funding. Nice. And we'll find some problems and fix them, and then we'll do 2% and 3%, and then we'll get to a place where, all I do is go around and talk, and I don't have to make any decisions about any of the funding or anything because it's all being decided through the voting and governance mechanism.
I like that. I really like that. And I like the path, the fact that you guys have a goal like that. To be honest with you, the fact that you said, hey, right now we're completely centralized. I don't care. There's so many people in your position right now that would argue that fact, even though their coin is, instead of just saying, yo, at this point in time we are, but we're moving here and we've got a plan for it. So, I definitely appreciate you, being honest there. And the work that you guys are doing, I started out when, I kind of caught wind of ZenCash through Zcash and through somebody else who really loves your coin. That's another YouTuber, and that's Boss Coin. And, I'm doing a complete video background on ZK Snarks, and it's going to kind of be a series of a couple of videos. I wanted to do the interview with you first so people could kind of understand, hear from you, and then I wanted to go in depth more of what you guys are about and what the coin is about. I just kind of wanted everybody to have a really good overview. I'd say in the next 90 days, is there anything I should say in the next 90 to 180 days, any big announcements we should be looking for or listening for, or anything that's coming up? I kind of want that you may want to promo a little bit that you're excited about.
Well, we're going to have continued improvements, and some of these take a while. I mean, some software development, I mean, takes a year or two to write and things like that. So definitely in the next 90 to 100 days, we're going to announce specifically what the deliverable from IOHK is, from the research, development, and modeling, and the way that we're going to implement the governance model. The second research project that we're doing with them is we're looking ahead a few years, and we say, okay, what if we're really successful? What if we get a lot of people to use ZenCash? And just like Bitcoin, the size of the blockchain grows, and we're having to deal with lots of different transactions. Are there newer and better technologies out there that we can start researching now to move over to, like a DAG, a directed acyclic graph, or other types of technologies that we can make ZenCash operate faster, so that there isn't a new block every 2.5 minutes, but maybe there's updates every, 5 or 10 seconds, so the messaging can be a lot faster, so we can scale bigger and operate all over the world. So that's the second R&D project, and that's a little bit more complex, but we're going to do that as well. And that's 1 to 2 years out, but we got big plans. We're planning on being around for a while.
You
On
have
business
to have
development
those plans.
stuff,
you have
you
to.
do. Absolutely. And we try to make a lot of this stuff public. So we have a roadmap on Trello. You can find that from our website, which is zencash.com. You can find our blog where we talk about things. We do a bi-weekly update, a live stream on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, which is ZenCash. And then we take those slides and put that on our blog. So we try to be pretty open about what we're doing. But just like in a lot of things, if you don't know something's there, you don't know to go looking for it.
Yeah. They've got a very active Reddit as well. They stay very active on Reddit, and they stay very active on their Twitter as well. They keep people updated. So if you want to keep updated with their news, and they do have amazing wallets, and you can download it right there from their website as well. I believe Mac.
Discord and Telegram as well. Yeah.
Yes, Discord and Telegram as well. On a note that's not ZenCash or crypto related, there are so many messages when you get into even one group on there that Telegram and Discord are very, very hard for me to follow it, because you be part of two groups and that are getting hundreds of messages within an hour or a couple of hours. So it can be a little overwhelming for me, but they stay very active on there, and you can follow them on there.
Twitter
as
tends
well.
to be more the highlights. I'll agree with you on that. So yeah.
But the thing is there's many different outlets that ZenCash has for you to be able to follow their project and participate. Now, Rolf, I want to ask you, I have YouTube channels doing business. I told you before I have quite a few different small businesses and been very successful in building small businesses. Now I know I have a listener base in there too that watch these videos. So I'm a e-commerce person or something like this. Can I use ZenCash now to accept payments? Is that something that you guys have now available, or is it more of just a peer-to-peer at this point in time? And when would that be a possibility of being available, or is that still something that's a little bit off for a payment system in that aspect?
Absolutely. Great question. So if you wanted to get some ZenCash, you got to do it on an exchange, whether it's Bittrex or OKX or a decentralized exchange like Bisq or Cryptopia. So that's the starting point. We're actively traded. And then if you want to be able to receive ZenCash, well, I mean, we got a mobile wallet on Android. We got desktop wallets. There's coinpayments.net that we're integrated into that you can use like a WordPress website. I know there's a guy that's been working on a WooCommerce plugin, which integrates to a lot of different online sites. There are other ones that we're looking to get integrated into. And that's why we got business development. So we're always looking to increase the usability of ZenCash, whether it's partnering with different sites who may want to accept cryptocurrency online, getting onto more exchanges. That's an active thing that we have people that are working on and doing all the time.
Very nice. And if there happens to be a developer out there, since it's open source, I mean, I'm sure they can contact you if they wanted to work on a WooCommerce plugin or a Shopify plugin or something like that. The thing is it's a real question, even just from me, not even from necessarily even a viewer, because I do a lot of e-commerce, and I currently use a couple of different platforms to accept cryptocurrency. And to be honest with you, it's very cumbersome, and they don't offer a lot of coins. And I see a lot of other different businesses and stuff that are using different currencies besides Bitcoin or Ethereum. I'm seeing a lot of people that are using those more of a store of value, especially people that are just getting into it that want to hold it. But there's other people that would want to use ZenCash as a regular payment system. So, it's good that you guys are open to being able to have that development and that you've got some going on, because it's a use that I already have people that, I know would want to use it, or that are looking for sources that way. So that's good to know.
And there's other ones too. For example, we're integrated with Welto, where you can pay small bills like your electricity and stuff like that using ZenCash. There's other ones that we're going to get onto as we grow and are bigger. So yeah, we really want to be usable for sure. However, I think that if you use Craigslist ever and you buy something, you usually pay in cash. You don't use Venmo or PayPal or anything like that, because the banks can sometimes reverse charges if it was a stolen credit card. I think people should start using cryptocurrencies when they use Craigslist. And then we try to have all our meetup groups pick a local business and say, hey, we're going to help you set up to take ZenCash, and then we're committing to come buy things with ZenCash. So we set up small ecosystems. I think that doing that in a lot of different places of the world will help things out as well.
I think that that's a great idea, and it also helps with the adoption and people using using ZenCash to be able to just not do everything, not just one thing or anything like that. And the fact that you can set up bills, I think, is amazing too. This is a point I wanted to ask, and I don't want to forget it again. ZenHide for web traffic. What exactly is it? Because we haven't touched on this.
All right. So this is kind of an advanced feature. And interrupt me if I'm going too long on this, because I can get a little technical. I'm background of a nuclear engineer, and electrical and IT and stuff like that. However, you mentioned the encryption between the nodes, and that was the first step, because like when you browse the web and you look for the little lock button on your browser, that indicates that you have encrypted traffic from that website, which is what you want, because you don't want people inserting things into it or stuff like that. So that was the very first thing. Is we said, okay, we're going to change ZenCash, because most cryptocurrencies don't have this, as far as I know, so that all the transactions between your wallet, or the transport between your wallets and node to node, is encrypted. Basic, but that's what we did. And
Real quick,
then
they've
we
got
said,
over
okay,
8,000 nodes, and I'm so sorry. They've got over
yeah,
8,100, almost 8,200 nodes worldwide. Just so you know, they're not a small network.
that's right. And we got into that and we said, well, if we're going to have people use our cryptocurrency all over the world, and maybe they're doing some privacy things that some governments might not like for example, Turkey cut off all access to Proton Mail. You know, the anonymous email? They did
Yeah,
that 2 weeks
yeah.
ago. So there's
Wow,
country level
wow.
firewalls that people can do. And I don't think it's happened to many cryptocurrencies yet, but it's going to happen at some point, I'm sure. So
Yeah,
we're
oh
laying the
yeah, I'm sure.
groundwork for that. So we said, okay, well, first of all, to keep up and running, we got to have a lot of nodes. So why don't we use some of our funds? So 3.5% of the block reward, we pay to people that run nodes that meet certain requirements. Okay? So these certain requirements are to have a certificate that's valid, to run the latest version of the software, to have a full copy of the blockchain, to have their own IP address, so we have them distributed all over the world, and you got to have 42 Zen to show that you actually care about the network. When we first launched last year, Zen was like $3, so a lot of people bought their Zen anticipating setting up secure nodes. And so secure nodes are fully operating. We've been doing that for months, and we're paying people to run these nodes. And that's part of the reason we got so many nodes. Now, so we enabled TLS, so encryption, then we're paying people to have full certificates. Now we can get into what Zen Hide is. So when you pull an article from someone like Cointelegraph or somebody online, you don't go to their servers and pull that whole article from them. They actually cache a lot of the pictures and other stuff using caching services so that you pull it probably from within the own city that you're at. And there's lots of caching services, Amazon, Google, Cloudflare, things like that. And so when you think you're pulling something from Cointelegraph, it's actually redirecting you to pull from a whole bunch of different things. That's just part of the internet caching methodology. Well, ZenHide uses that internet caching methodology through an advanced censorship evasion technique called domain fronting, where basically you ask for something, it thinks you're getting it from a cache, but then you're actually going and getting it from somewhere else. So what it looks like to a country that's blocked ZenCash at a country level firewall is that you're accessing Amazon or something like that. But actually your wallet only looks like it's accessing Amazon Web Services, actually going into a secure node that's running a TLS certificate. So this is a way to hide your activity to make it look like fully encrypted web traffic going to some basic website out there when it's actually a ZenCash browser doing a transaction, whether it's transparent or shielded, to a secure node that's operating a valid TLS certificate.
You've just blown my mind in how one country could, like, almost tears in my eyes, could totally be changed by this. North Korea, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I'm sure they block all sorts of things at the
I mean, there's
country
many
limit.
countries. There's many countries,
Yeah.
but what you're talking about now could, like, this is huge, that could change people's lives that have been, you know, screwed down by their country for years. And I don't want to get into no political side of stuff, but what you guys are working on doing is something that I think that is just amazing. And that's what people think cryptocurrency. A lot of people, they look at the money side of it, but a lot of people aren't understanding. And a lot is because they don't understand the technology that's going behind it. And you just explained everything that my listeners, beginners, a lot of my listeners can understand in a way that, hey, this is where we're going. Like, and I've tried to explain in previous shows how the internet is the World Wide Web is here basically because they built it on there, because at the time we didn't have the cryptography available to and know enough about it to be able to do things how we can do them now with crypto, with blockchain technology and the current cryptography. So internet as we know it is going to change, and what you just said there, it makes perfect sense and can kind of show people where this can actually go, and this underlying technology and how it's way more than just a coin.
Yeah, and so that's where we think that we're actually going to get the most uptake in countries that really have an oppressive government, where if you use Bitcoin, it's not just like the SEC or IRS is coming after you, it's the local police force that's going to shoot you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the people who really
exactly.
want to hide what they're doing.
Yep, exactly. Well, and I'm sure that there's places like that, and we obviously don't want to get into that, but I think that that is huge, and it's good to see that you guys have that roadmap and that are going in that direction, because that technology can really be extremely disruptive, and it can be helpful for not just your coin, but any other coins or any other currency that is going to happen like this. So you guys are very, I'm not saying nobody else is necessarily doing it, but you guys have already got a system in base. It's not even like a plan. You guys have already got over 8,000 nodes in place building this system. And you guys are working on it. It's not like, hey, this is what we want to do. This is what we're in the progress of doing. So that is huge. Guys, make sure you check out ZenCash.com. So you can get all the latest information, obviously, and keep up to date. Don't forget to download a wallet and start collecting those coins if you want to run a node. You guys do have all of the information on what they need to do to run a node if they get their 42, all on the website, correct?
We do, and then we have some guides that different people have written on how to set them up. I wrote a guide on my mining website where I teach people how to do cryptocurrency mining, block operations too, and I think that's still what the website points to. However, we have a whole support team. So now, if you need help on setting up a secure node, the best first place to go is our Discord, and there's a whole secure nodes channel where people there are happy to help. We've got guys in Australia, so we got like 24/7 support on there. And then we rolled out a ticketing system, a support system for people that have problems with their wallets or other things like that,
Nice.
using a commercial product called Jira, which is a help desk and ticketing system. And then we're going to take all these questions and answers and put it into this thing called Confluence. So people are going to be able to get answers. But yeah, we have people right now, they're having issues with their wallets or need some help or things like that, and they send an email to support@zencash.com, and we assign it to people and they get answers. I don't know if there's other projects that are doing that, but we think it's pretty important to help our users out, and so we got a process in place to do it.
I consume a lot of content each day, being somebody that handles news or passing along information to other people, and the amount of frustration I see from people who cannot get in contact or wait days or weeks to be able to get in contact with, let's just be honest, a company about their wallet because they're having issues, or you're on Bittrex or Binance and you're constantly seeing a coin that was just bought or something that they're down because their wallet, and they're down for days and days and days, and maybe they have a problem there that they're trying to fix, but if you or Binance can't get a hold of somebody there to fix the wallet, then you see what I'm saying? So to be able to have customer support, you guys are taking this very serious. And again, I feel that that the coin is extremely undervalued. And I think that there are some coins out there, obviously, that are very much overvalued. But I am a very big supporter, and I really like what you guys have done there. I think that you guys are a leader in what new, fresh companies that are going to be coming out in 2018, 2019, as well as some of the ones from the past year, really need to take some time and look at what you guys are doing just in an all-around business platform. When they've got money from investors for an ICO, just some of the things that you guys are doing normally with accounting and stuff like that, they don't do. So really, as a whole, and not just a coin, but as a business and as something to pay $18 a coin for, your coin is, and your business model is very much worth it. And I think it's very, very undervalued, because I could never have gathered as much information from you as I did today with this interview. My mind is blown. Like, you guys are really on point with what you do. Really on point.
Thanks. This helps a lot. I mean, I love having the opportunity to talk about what we're doing and to be able to share with you and with your audience. So I appreciate it.
Everybody, with that being said, I don't want to hold him up too long. There's going to be links in the description for ZenCash, their website, for their wallets, for their Discord, for their Twitter. All of that stuff is going to be in the description. So make sure you click those links, save them in your browser, and go ahead and check them out. And you'll continue to see videos from me keeping you updated as well. Rolf, thank you for coming on the show. Is there any last thing that you want to share with anybody before we go ahead and depart today?
Steve, you're a very good interviewer. We covered a whole lot of stuff, so I think we pretty much covered it all. I really appreciate your kind words and your support, and be happy to come back and talk to you, give you updates periodically.
Great.
So thank you very much, Steve, and really appreciate it.
Great. Hey, guys, as you know, I do e-commerce stuff. I'm going to have to edit that out. Group, no. Hey, as you guys know, I do a lot of e-commerce stuff. So if you've checked out any of my e-commerce sites, I'm sure that you'll see ZenCash coming real soon. Thank you all, and you have a great day. Rolf, thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.